Hi. Why don't I have a video?
Hello.
Hi. Hey, Shweta.
Hello. Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon. I think I need to do something.
Ma'am, you are on mute. I think.
Hi. How come my video is not showing? Let me log out and log in again.
Can't see your video.
Yeah, I'll log out
Is your
again.
video on? 1 second. Hello.
Hey, Shweta.
Hi, ma'am. I'm also Shweta. Good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon.
1 second. Okay. Ma'am, are you on your phone?
No, I am on the iPad.
Okay. Ma'am, in that case, when you start sharing screen, you just check whether your video stays on even while sharing
Should I
screen.
try and do that right now?
Yes, ma'am. Please do that. Hello. Good afternoon, sir.
Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, ma'am. I can see you as well. Great.
So I'll
Yeah.
stop sharing.
Yeah. There are no videos in the presentation, right, ma'am?
No, only visuals.
Okay. 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 No problem. Great. Good afternoon, sir. I'm Shweta. Hello. Hello.
You hear me?
Yes, sir. We can hear you.
Oh, yeah, wonderful.
Okay. We are waiting for Rana, ma'am. I think she joined in and then she left. So Harish sir is on another session link, and we start at 1:15. So he's concluding the previous session. Rana ma'am is here.
Well, Shweta,
Yes, sir.
do you want to even check my?
Yeah, definitely. If you can,
I just
it
want
would be great.
I don't know what's wrong with my video. I'm just not getting.
Ma'am,
I think you should
what
relog in
device?
once again.
What device are you in from? Was it working yesterday? Okay. Was it working yesterday or previously?
Yeah, every day it works. That's my life is here.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, let me again go back and try again.
Ma'am, it's
Thank you so much for joining. Wonderful workshop. I hope and believe participants would continue.
Shweta, can you hear me?
Sir, I can hear you. Can you share screen?
Yes,
Yeah,
I'm
I've
just trying to do
enabled.
that. It's a little this thing. It's basic, advanced. Okay, I think I need to save it in some drive to follow the documents.
So if the presentation is shared on your saved on your laptop, you can
Here on my
just
desktop.
it's on your desktop, right? So there is the option of share screen on the bottom panel of Zoom.
Yeah, I did it, and I could see only Dropbox, Microsoft OneDrive, and Google Drive, and there's another custom box.
But can you go to? Okay.
Sorry, it's on my.
Oh, okay.
I,
Sir, what you can do is instead of files, you just open the presentation and keep it open on your desktop.
okay.
And then when you go to share screen, it will give you an option or in the basic section. So one of that screen will be your presentation.
1 second. I will just check, please.
this camera. Hello, Rana ma'am. Still not working. Is it possible to restart your laptop or log in from another laptop? Oh, it's working. I can see you. I can see you, ma'am. I can see you. I can't. You're on mute. Pawan
I
sir, are
can see
you?
myself too. Yay. Shweta,
Very
red
good.
is to red. And the boy is in the blue.
No, Hari sir is in red as well today.
Yay. Pawan, you still have 6 minutes. Just change karke. Let's.
No, I need to be special.
Oh. That you are. Red or blue to special hai.
Yeah.
Sir, are you able to share screen now?
Now
Can I-
I'm not actually. What should I be doing on this? Is I've never done it, so it's all my staff who did it all the time. So,
If you could ask them to help you, it's a Sunday, I understand, but if
Can you
Okay.
see my screen?
Rana ma'am is sharing screen. Yeah, ma'am, we can
a
see
little
you.
help from your side, Rana. A little help from your side.
Yes, my dear. Tell me.
Okay. See, I'm trying to share screen, and this is a Windows laptop.
Same here.
Okay. So if I say share on this, and I get this. 1 second, please. Sorry. I get this when I say share, I get these 3 things called Dropbox, Microsoft OneDrive, and Google Drive.
So those 3 tabs on the top are basic advanced files. Go
Yes.
to the basic one.
Basic.
Click on the basic.
It says only whiteboard.
Is the presentation open on your desktop?
It is.
Pawan, do you
Then
want to mail it to either me or Rana and we can share it for you?
Oh, wonderful. That'd be great. So how do I move it then?
You will just have to say next, and I
Oh, yeah,
will.
wonderful.
That
I'll
way.
do it right
Good.
away. Can I put on the WhatsApp group?
Mail it, no? It'll be easier. Or yeah, WhatsApp's fine too. I can.
Yeah, great, Shweta. That'd be great. I'll just do that.
Shweta, you're a lifesaver.
She's.
You haven't saved it yet, right?
Shweta, can you see it? I just sent it to the group right now. ADW 7.
Yeah. Let me just try and share it right away. Let's see if that works. Are you able to see it?
Yes.
yeah, we can see it.
Yes. Perfect.
Okay. Fine. Yeah. We're good to go then. In 5 minutes.
Harish is jumping from one talk to the next, is it?
Yes, ma'am, he's completed 2 sessions in morning. This will be the 3rd one. He's here.
Hi, Harish.
Yes, one talk after the other. Yes, I'm the MC for the day.
Hello.
Hi, Shweta. Hi, Pawan.
Hi, Harish.
Superb. We should be going live in another 3 minutes, I guess.
So tell me, Devda decided to not join. What happened?
I guess he had a family function today, so he said it wasn't possible. Yeah. So
You want to, eventually it was 3.
just a moment, let me just check a few things.
Rana, Pawan, in case in case I want to share the link with somebody, this is not the link I share, right? Because the email specifically said it's only for us. Do we have the general link that?
General link, I think you should be asking Shweta.
Yeah. So, ma'am,
The same email. In the same email, there is a link. You need to register Ahmedabad Design
so
Week.
yeah. So the AhmedabadDesignWeek.com is the web portal. On that portal, when you click on the view live event, you register your mobile number on it, you generate an OTP, and when you put in that OTP, it will divert you to the auditorium and all the other, the entire
got it.
campus page. On the auditorium, you can click Hall 1, Hall 2 to view the event, the sessions. Today is the last day, and I think only Hall 1 is live. So this is the second last session. Then we have one more session with Fabio Ricci, and then followed by the valedictory session today, 5:30, I think.
Thank you. Shweta, on the website, I saw something that said that my session is already done. So it says Harish with Rana Parikh and Shweta and Pawan ka pura naam likha hai. So I was like, mera hua nahi, and this is not me.
There must have been some mixed up in the schedule. I'll check. Ma'am, we are going live in a minute.
Four.
Sure.
Four screens. Shweta. Okay. Following an interesting and interactive workshop on innovative thinking and transdisciplinary art, we shall move on to the next session, which is a panel. We've assembled an interesting panel of architects. We've not really had architects in the entire. I know we did have Aishwarya Tipnis and a couple of other architects discuss, but this panel is going to be quite interesting. Please join me in welcoming architect Rana Parikh, architect Shweta Moni, and architect Pawan Suryadevara, distinguished guests, members of the Indian Institute of Interior Designers, to this panel discussion on nurturing spaces for children. This panel discussion at Ahmedabad Design Week 2021 proposes to explore the spaces dedicated to regular playtime. Here, parents devote attention to nurturing child-parent relationships and interactions. The term space refers not only to the physical area and the toys for learning and playing, but also encompasses the time, attitude, and energy necessary to enhance a child's behavior. Let me begin by introducing each of the guests that we have for today, followed by their presentations also. Architect Rana Parikh studied architecture from Baroda, opting to practice mainly in the field of interior design. She has a huge portfolio of work ranging from residential, art galleries, schools, universities, etc. She is an active committee member of IIID Ahmedabad chapter, currently heading the defining design theme for 2017 and 2019. She visits several institutes of design to take lectures and to participate in student jury. A large part of her portfolio is the work she does for kids, schools, playgrounds, and their spaces in homes. In the time when furniture and interiors were not even heard of, she forayed into kids' world through exhibitions of child furniture and accessories. For the first part, I would invite Rana ma'am to initiate the session. Thank you, ma'am. Please go ahead, ma'am. All over to you.
Thank you so much, Harish.
Your mic is switched off, is it?
No? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, perfect. Okay. So thank you so much for that introduction. Let me start at the beginning. When you said that I studied architecture because that was all that we could study then to be able to practice interior design. I was, I think, about 14 when my dad took me to see an IKEA showroom. We lived in Kuwait then, and I fell in love with what I saw. And I said, this is what I want to do for a living. I want to make furniture. Then how did kids' furniture come around? I think when I had a child and I had a boy, this was 31 years ago, and he was one of those who had to break things to find out how they work. An engineer now, of course, but that really used to get me so frazzled, so upset most of the times. And about then, when he was about 3, we moved to a new house. And I decided to scale down everything, bring it to his level, and create a space for him. Somewhere that space started influencing him in a way that he had a sense of belonging, and he transformed in a way that he was unrecognizable. All of a sudden, he was that very responsible person that, oh, my space, my this. The way he started sharing it with pride, his room become very, very organized in a way. I saw how space changed my child, and I decided to experiment further and move further in that field. Like you said, there was nothing called furniture even then, let alone kids' furniture, and we started there. All of us have heard of Gulliver's Travels. So when you look at children, it's the other way around. It's the small little men and women who are in a big person's world, and they're grappling with things that are 2-3 times that are bigger than them. Also dangerous, also not child friendly, besides the psychological impact that they have. Other than that, what we can talk about is the fundamentals that if I were to look at, and I will also, once I share my screen, I will take it further. Ergonomics, of course, size and scale is the most important. It has to be intriguing. It has to raise they're fresh, they're new, their sense of imagination. Number 3, they have a very low, because we live in a day and age that way, that we have a low attention span, something that would catch them and hold them there, something that could be ever changing. So what I have decided to do today is take you through a couple of school projects that I have done. That is a space outside of home where they spend time, and that is a space outside of their comfort. So let me start with sharing the screen and we will take this further. Visible? Are we visible?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So I'm going to drench you people in colors these days because that's what my kids love and that's what they totally enjoy. Harish, will you give me a ting tong at 8 minutes? I don't want to go above my time.
Please take your time, no worries. No.
Right? Okay. So these are the kind of spaces we deal in. We want them to be happy, spaces that soothe them, that sing and dance with them, that energize them. Our intent is always to help them create playful existence and an ongoing celebration of life, so to say. Now, when we're talking about, we'll start with a couple of entrances. We're talking about your child, the child is going for the first time out of his comfort zone into a school, something that he's going to have to endure for the next 22 years of his life or 25, his education. Why don't we start with the entrance? So something like this. Incidentally, you will see a lot of red in my presentation. Red is the color that an infant recognizes first. So a lot of basic colors you will use because those are the colors that speak to the children first. No salmon pinks and no lavenders in my work. It's just red, blue, yellow, and straight up there. Something that they can recognize, like a train, like a carriage, colors that they can. So there's a lot of make-believe in their world. And so the entrance to any educational institute, any preschool is most important, that they want to enter, they want to explore, they want to touch, feel, sit, stand, and actually experience that space. Another thing that we like to do in the place areas that we design for children, no China furniture here, we do it all ourselves. We eliminate fears. Children have a fear of closed spaces. Children have a fear of heights. So educate. It is just not, can you hear me?
Yeah, perfectly fine, Rana. But the entire screen is visible. Can we make it full screen? The bottom right.
I am so sorry. Okay. I'm so sorry. My bad. Okay. Yeah. So, for instance, here, so, when you go on top, you have a cutout there. You look down, and there is a wire mesh. So the child takes care of the fear of height, the fear of falling. All those things are taken. Here is a maze that you go inside and you figure out. We have made it child friendly, but this was done, I think, more than a couple of decades ago. But this is still something that I am very happy to share. The little swinging bridge that teaches them that, yes, it is still safe. It's all right if it's swinging. So this is one of the things one of the play areas that I have loved to make. Working on their imagination. Now, this is an entrance to an art room. When you get into an art room, it's colors all the way. Now, how do we know? What do the children, what do they see? They see splashes of color. And on the side, on the corner of the space, if you see, we already have a splash. So they know this is what they're supposed to do. Taking them not by making them do it, but education for children, it can be so much more simpler if they are in vibrant spaces. Because every time I do an educational institute for them, I make sure that anything that they look at, anywhere that they turn, there is learning there. It could be shapes, it could be colors, it could be everyday things of pencils and houses, and we'll take it further. A sense of belonging. We are used to our 10 feet height, 3-meter height, but they're tiny people. The moment you give them little spaces like these, like a little Mickey or a Winnie the Pooh, so this is their space. When they go from their classroom into the play area, this is what they love using. This is like, okay, I'll go through Minnie, I'll go or whatever are those names. So some kind of recognition, the language also is affected with this. We'll do a couple of case studies that this is a school that we've done with basement, ground, first, second, third, a whole lot of floors that they have. Each space, each floor, of course, takes care of a different, as you would see, to make things interesting, I would like, if children are studying on for pre-K, for junior KG, and they go up to the first floor for senior KG, I want them to experience it differently. To first standard, they need to experience it differently. There are times when we have done 4 junior KGs, 4 senior KGs, and I have a number plate that every 3 months they change their classroom. So they get a different flavor and a different learning of space. This is the alphabets on one side. These are different corridors that we have taken care of. We'll take care of. There's a sense of imagination and joy in them. They don't have to look at space and say blue hair or black hair. They could have a red. They could have an imaginary rocket out there. They could have their own interpretation of the planets. So that's what we try to do. Circus is a theme that they love. They love the animals, the animated ones, the real ones. Marine is always a delight. Their make-believe thing about sitting in a boat, and these are cubby holes that the blackboard, the ceiling, everything is taken care of, and every piece of furniture we like to customize to that particular space. Just like this. This is where that Winnie the Pooh is, and you come out of that classroom, the little area there. There's some splash pool over there that takes care of their happiness quotient and fun quotient. This is an activity room of that school, wherein they will learn in their classrooms. this is an area that is more like a supplementary education. This is an area where you're not sitting on a bench and thinking, I have to study. You're just there, and education happens by just being there. You have a space which is called a maths corner, where they actually do something but the space that they are in makes it fun. You have a little dollhouse here that takes care of how do you sleep, how do you fold your little napkins, how do you eat. So we actually have a little bedroom up here. How do you kind of hold your brush? How do you comb your hair? This is all learning that happens at that very tiny age, makes the parents' life much easier, of course. And there is a place where we have confidence building areas where there's a stage where they can go and talk. Not every child is diverse, so I take care of that. Libraries, these are very, very favorite rooms of children. This is where they actually start learning stuff. This is for the little ones where they sit on these steps and they hear a story. They perhaps sit around these sofas and they have a conversation or a storytelling or just looking at picture books. This is the adult size. It's one space, and how we have distinguished it is by the colors that we've used for the tiny ones and for the big ones. This is the kind of drawing we get from architects, very set, very grown up. Now what we do to that is we break it up. We create our own spaces, we create our own furniture. Nothing should look like this, like the other, because what's the fun if everything looks the same? What's the child if everything looks the same? So try to break. These are some of the views that we started out on. This corner is how we found the space. Now, if we look back, here we did not have space to play. We just had a lot of windows there. We broke that. We said we need a little nook for the kid to play because the rest of the classroom is study, but I want some space there where they can just be. More about that. This is how it looks eventually. We do have glass film on it so they don't bang into it while running. Every classroom, like I said, every 2-3 months they change the classroom. Every classroom has something new to learn. These are the things that they have to learn: the alphabets, the numbers, the different kinds of sports, fruits and vegetables, names of those things, the forest, the animals there. These are some of the views of those areas as to how the cubby holes look, what are the different shapes and sizes of chairs that we have over there. This is some of the furniture that we have done for the fruits. So there's also a sense of belonging I see over there. Somebody who sat on an orange wants to sit on a kiwi the next day. Somebody wants to sit on a lemon the next day. So there is, I see the kids running for it, that yes, today is my day to sit on the lemon, or today I want to be king, or the lion king, or I want to be the giraffe, or things like that. So it's just looking at that, learning the words, learning the colors associated with it, and identifying those as well. These are different themes. One of the most irritating questions people ask kids is, "Bade hokar kya banoge?" So we've tried to handle that. Now, we've just put together a few themes. This is what an engineer does. This is what a doctor does. And we went about explaining each of these. And the funny thing is that when I designed this, I actually have a 1-week session with the teachers so that they can actually explain, and so that I can explain use classroom the way it is intended to use, because it could just be a pretty picture, but there's a lot more behind it. So there are stories behind every picture that you see over here, and the teachers are taught to use the classroom that way. These are the kind of chairs that we have. The caution chairs, the fireman chairs, of course, 400 BC chairs, caddy number chairs. So, and it becomes fun for them. Then they start learning to read. Acha, ye chart, this is 5, 6, 7, or this is 100, or, and then that sense of belonging happens. Then they go and say, okay, I will go and sit over here. This is so much fun, so much fun. The last bit that I'd like to show you is an activity area that we completed recently. Here, there are several activities that the children do. There is dance and music. There is a space where there's a puppet show. There is a ball pool area, some kind of maths science corner, some kind of doll house there. So we will just go through it quickly. This is the way it looks. This is just the exterior of that. This is where the staff room is. So these schools don't believe in staff rooms for teachers as an enclosed area, but this is because this is the preschool. They want the teachers to be around all the time. They don't really need a staff room, but this is the place where paperwork and whatever else is required. So this is where we place that. Now you enter. One more time, I have scaled it down so that the child has a sense of, yes, this is my space. Also, there are 3 of those in 3 different colors. On the right side, you see a stage. Ahmedabad, this particular school is in Ahmedabad. The weather in Ahmedabad for 10 months, Harish, you know, it is hot. It is hot beyond hot. And to take those little kids outside to play is a tad difficult most of the times. So we tried to bring the outdoors in. We tried to mimic a tree there, a sit out around the tree. I couldn't bring a Shantiniketan here, but we did it as close as possible as to how do we take care of these exterior elements and bring them in. This is the way it looks. You have a lot of marketplace and carts and selling. And so there's a lot of make-believe area over here that you are up fruits bech rahe ho, you're selling books, you're doing whatever else, selling ice cream. So we have a little cart there that does that. We have some kind of sitting here that takes care of, these are bookshelves on this side. So they take their books, sit down, read over there. They actually do some bit of math without really realizing कि ये मैं math कर रहा हूँ. So that's a fun way to do it. You have some 8 minutes. Yeah, okay. It's just a couple of more slides. So a little kids corner that happens over there, the dollhouse, some bit of make-believe windmills, and these are spaces to sit. These are little nooks and corners for them to discover little things and color, of course. There's the music and dance area with mirrors on one side. And for me, I mean, Nelson Mandela always said that it's the most powerful weapon which we can use to change the world is education. And this is what we are working towards it. We are dealing with the tiniest of the tiny human beings and helping them to be more happy, more joyous, and to creating more of that. That's my take on it.
Wonderful presentation, ma'am. Wonderful work that you've been doing. I think it's impacted a lot of kids as well around the city that you've been working on as well. Fortunately, the generation that they are in right now, I think they're fortunate to have wonderful space designers who work specifically on kids' spaces. Our next presenter is architect Pawan Suryadevara. Pawan has done his master's in architecture from UK and bachelor's of architecture from Chennai. He is an active member of the Indian Institute of Interior Designers and the Indian Institute of Architects in the Telangana chapter, and a member of Saransh, a handicraft development of India. He is currently the associate director for Clark Lloyd International based in Hyderabad. He's also a member of the Royal British Institute of Architects. I invite Pawan to share his presentation. You muted. I think you unmute yourself.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. So I will just take it pretty quick here. Um, this is a company, Clark Law International. There, where when we started our career 2007, after which we've been doing a lot of projects on residences and everything. Can I have Shweta? Can you? My good friend Shweta is helping me move the screen. So, one of
So
the
just
schools
see
called.
the screen.
Yes, the next one, please, Shweta.
Sure.
Yes. Oak Ridge schools are one of the schools that are located in Hyderabad. They're international schools, and we generally haven't ever designed any kids areas before. This was 5, 6 years back, and that's when they called me in to do a very small space in the basement. They wanted to do a toy library. To be very frank, I didn't understand the word toy library at the time, but we have to do a little more research on, what exactly would they want. And what we did was, this is the first time ever we haven't really spoken to any of their teachers or any of they just wanted us to try to understand by ourselves, and they just gave a space and said, 3 months we need to finish it. We need to finish it. You recruit whom we like and start off working on this toy library. So I asked them, what is it that you want? They just said that, see, all the kids, these kids come by cars or school buses. They miss the basic thing of moving together, that especially when you're walking on the road or bus stops and things of that sort. And let them have a nice interactive space. Let them have away from the regular curriculum. It doesn't have to be the kids from LKG UKG I'm talking about, or the from 4 to 10. Anybody, you can, they simply would walk in and enjoy the space. So that's when we started studying, understanding what exactly would they require, what exactly would a toilet require, what exactly would the child or a kid think about, how he has to be there. And there's a few, these are the a little bit of a design evolution concepts we try to Google, to be very frank, and take a few ideas from my own staff who are working with me. And this is what we come up to, a few principles on how kids would really think about, is about spaces, about textures, then about environment, and the little bit of attention they require, and all these spaces. So I'm sure this will actually explain, but I probably would go to the real pictures and start explaining you. Yes. Now, so this is a small space, a space of some less than 700 SFT or something, that's in the basement of the school. Um, where this is the door where I'm entering actually. And what I see is, I see this small space, you a little bit of ventilation. You can see those ventilators there, very clearly shown, where there's light coming inside. And this space need to be made into something of a use where the teachers and the kids interact with each other there. After their regular activities of schools, books, or whatever, they come and they spend 1.5 hour every day here. So this is always full. I mean, from morning 9:30 till evening 4 or 3:30, this space is used by someone or the other. Either kids of younger age, I'm talking about 3, 4 years, or kids a little more taller, I could say, more in age. So Shweta, can see the next one, please. Okay. Now the first one is, as you see, the few the things what we really planned in here was, one is a space, a learning space, I could say. So this trial library, we thought we'll have jukeboxes. So what happens is, at that time the speakers were new. I'm 6 years after taking. So these boxes there, what you can see on the top, on the right side there, they're actually, they had movies in there, and yeah, they have a little noise. You know what? They had speakers there with a small connectivity there, and the kids actually stay there. The teachers help them remove the boxes, and you take the speaker out and put it there, and they actually stand there, listen to that. This idea was to, to have a little change, use a little of technology to see how with the noises, sounds, and because there are no speakers in that room totally. The only space where some music is played is those, and we didn't want the rest of the people to be disturbed, because there'll be at least 15, 20 kids playing at the same time in the same place. So there'll be multiple activities, some playing with building blocks, some actually playing with the books, some actually enjoying the space there. And you see that chair there, a very casual chair, and those mushroom small chairs where kids sit down is, and then you see a book rack at the back, the circle one, that's got all these books and all plays. So it's read out, the teacher reads out the story sometimes, and who are interested, they listen. Or they hardly 3, 5 kids, there will only be 2 kids sometimes, and that's a kind of the activity that happens there. And then coming down to the picture just below this, you see that that nice slide that you can see a house there. So that's again, we wanted them to feel enjoy or get explained or even taught or experience of how do you go to school. First is the house. That's the home. Then where that's you get ready. Then you go inside. You go down. You can see that small space, and there are steps inside. You walk up the steps, go down, and they come down that slide, and see the night perimeter that is done with those fence there. And then they walk it out, and you see we created a small bus stop there. So the bus stop on the left side, school bus stop ahead, and we have people sit down there, and it's like a game. They try to make it like walk like people walk in lines. They come do that. So for them to feel that how it is, and you can see at the back of the bus stop there is a huge. Shweta, the next picture maybe explains it. Yes. So this is other side of the bus stop. You see this teddy bear being sit. I mean, a bear that's put there. That's where people sit down. At the background, you can see at the back is a skyscape with a lot of activity happening there. And then right in front of all those lanes, we tried to create a little bit of a road kind of a thing, and the small cars kind of a thing as the traffic going on the road. And you see this building blocks, the smaller blocks there where people, the kids stand of them, they play. So it's on a multiple activity. Just a small space. We require to put so many things there, and the teacher would be able to keep them busy with other activities. If 4 or 5 in one group and 4 or 5 in another group, I remember I was standing there for a day to hour to see how the activity is happening. She was explaining them, why don't you guys, 4 of you people, just go to home and come back to the bus stop, and from the bus stop you require to go to the classroom. Then other 4 sits and stands and arranges the space neat. They try to put back their books back into their shelves. They try to put back all this whatever the small toys or whatever there. And there's another activity happening in most of the building blocks at that time, and drawing happening on the desk there. So they get their own books and sit down and draw. So this has been happening. This is a whole day's process. The whole day's process, where the toys, everything happens in a place, and you can see the sky, a little bit of just to create as if there are stars in the sky. Instead of, rather than putting regular stars, I had to put it in the form of a flower or something, just to show that this is, it's covered the colors there, basically the change of colors. And then you can see the walls, everything is painted. We have never left anything except for that wall and some mechanical movement, and that's the small box. I don't know, the white one there is as a library itself, wherein you're going to put up. When I actually took these photographs, there were not many books also. It was a very initial decoration, because I know it's going to be that requires a regular attention on it, on cleaning it and everything. But before that, we want to take the pictures, and we got this thing done. The next pictures, where's that? Now you see, this is a house I was talking about, as if it's a home, and you walk in the house, you come down the slide is not necessarily, but we want to try to make it a little more interesting. And you see that wall there, the right side of the beside the slide, is people actually try to climb up those, and they fall down. Also we have soft toys and everything, so you don't really get hurt there. And now in the below the picture there is, we can see the jukebox, the nice 10 boxes, and there is a classroom setup, a simple classroom setup wherein music is played, a dance floor is done. These are removed, and they even had dance also. So all this a wooden flooring basin where the whole of this chairs are the stools are moved. I mean the smaller mushroom chairs, and then the area is turned into how they require. It's a multi-use space basically. The next one, please. Sorry, and that's thin the same. That was 6 years back, and after that we it was a good hit. I mean, all the parents, we took the review that they said it's nice, my kids are enjoying it. They come and talk about it. That's the whole idea. At least they come and talk about it to the parents, say that this is what I did in the school. I climbed up, I drove down the slide and everything. So what we did was, now the same Oak Ridge wanted us to design a playground, not an open space, but it is in the chute of a school. So right in the center, it's a courtyard that is covered up 5 floors above, wherein you have all even the primary school kids also look down, and they can see these kids playing in there. They said it's a beautiful activity. The noise is great. Why? Because it's kids' noise playing there and all. They don't get disturbed, and they feel that's nice. Even the elder kids also would like to come and interact the space. So we have to really use tough material, little like metal kind of a thing, and that's when we try to create all these activities. What you see, that the child skill, the design for interactions, create zones for different energy levels. So it's a lot of people coming in there, not just the kids. Shweta, the next slide, please. Now see, this is the courtyard space. As you can see, those colorful 4 columns lying there, it's a corridor. It's a corridor that will go on for the height of 5 floors, wherein there's all classrooms there. Now in the center of this space is a small water body. It is existing water body. Now I need to make this space interesting. They don't want regular, put landscape plants and everything and all that and unused. They want to use every inch of it. It's a building. It's a building somewhere in Bajpali. So what happened was we tried to create this metal circular frames. Why? Because that's an entry and exit points of the whole of this area. So they walk inside, and the small bridge, you can see the bridge that's there. The kids started loving it. They started standing on the bridge, looking down the water, and the water had fish. They had some oxygen, these things that was circulating, and the water had fish. And the next slide, Sweta, please. And you see this, we tried to replicate a trees favorites, landscape favorites. So, most of my designs, I think that, having a tree there, at least a representation of a tree, not in the sort of paintings, but, some kind of a metal work and all done in wood and everything. And you see this pathways with small, as if water is flowing through tunnels, through canals or through ponds, and, water with landscape and some seating area, the nice seating area, that bench kind of a thing, that small places where the kids can go inside them and sit down there and start interacting. And you can see the below one, that we have that kind of a bear, that animals thing, what best we could do. And even the small colorful different shaped spaces wherein they go sit down there inside them and interact, and every possible, as much as one, make it interesting by creating a playground among the center of the school. The next one, please. These are a few more pictures, other views of what we have planned there. The next one, please. Same with the thing with the classroom. In Bangalore, the Oak Ridge, they wanted us to create a classroom now. The classroom, wherein it's the same space again, some 2,000 SFT of a space, little double height. They said, Pawan, we like the idea of you having the trees or landscape inside this thing. Why don't you do something like a Shantiniketan kind of a thing? An artificial sense, not the real this thing, an artificial sense. This is the only project wherein my most of interaction was with the teachers, and I absolutely did whatever the teacher wants. The first time ever, we sat, we understood what the client requires. They kept on saying that this is what I want, this is what I want, this is what the kids like, this is what the kids like to do at this hour, the next hour, and after that. So a few more, design concepts on what we think on, and then went to the next slide, please. So now you see this. Now you see the picture below. The picture below is a tree. So we managed to get an artificial done tree. It's actually done in thick plastic, obviously. And then we have all these leaves that we wanted to set up there. And we wanted to create a classroom kind of a thing where the teacher sits under the tree and the students sit on the benches there. Okay. And again, the same space, we have multiple spaces wherein there are, the same, the kids. These are actually two classrooms, LKG and UKG, as per this thing, but kindergarten kind of a thing. And you see there's some stairs there that's going up. So, and then they have the left side of the picture there where you can see some racks there where they're going to put their books in. And the height of that was almost close to some 13 feet high roofs. So that we have lamps actually falling down to give the light for that, because it's almost closed. You can see those two windows. There's so much of light coming in. But then too, air conditioning, everything was there in Bangalore, good weather. But then too, it's a closed space. So they want to use the height as much as possible and that's the reason we actually put up a tree there, so that they can feel and enjoy the height of it, and they don't feel claustrophobic and small space. And in the first picture there, I can see in that side, you can see there's a model house, the similar kind of a concept of what we used for the first project. The same one we wanted to have, put up a model house there in the play area right beside it. And this multiple colors, what you see are the multiple zones of different classrooms. So just 3 or 4 sections of kids staying one place. So they need to be separated with multiple activities. So, and that was when they started moving around. The next picture, please. So this is a cross section of how the whole area looked like and what's the height there, because on the top of it, the steps, because the top of it is an auditorium. So the space under the auditorium is something which we used. And this is exactly the space, and close to some 1200 and 1500 SFT of the space. And you can see the other side of view of it. The next one, please. And there you go. Thank you. And this is what we have presented with coming to the school and the kids.
Thank you very much, Pawan. We seem to have overshot the, I think we would overshoot time for the session. So we'll extend it by another 10 minutes. I'll invite Shweta to share her work. Let me introduce Shweta first. Shweta is the founder of Vistar Associates. She recently won the Nari Niyogin Award for inspiring women in the field of architecture, and also the Wade Award under the category of Young Emerging Architect. She acquired experience under the world-renowned architect B.B. Doshi at Vastushilp Consultants, Ahmedabad, and further pursued the nuances of sustainable architecture and interiors at Inspiration, an eco-sensitive design firm in Kochi, Kerala. Her designs balance aesthetic elements dealing with space, form, texture, volume, mass, structure, light, shadow, and colors with pragmatic elements such as cost and functionality. Her endeavor is to create people-oriented, ecologically sustainable designs that are artistic yet practical. I invite Shweta to share her work.
Thank you, Harish. I know we're running short on time, so I'm going to quickly, move over. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. So I think we've seen a lot of fantastic work with, colors and spaces that are designed for children to study in. So I think I'm going to run you through the other spectrum of what does it take to actually design a space for children, irrespective of where they study or live. So that's literally, us saying it's no child's play. I think for us, designing for children is about innocence, joy in small things, dexterity, oblivious, their absolute sense of
We've got a blank screen. Is that presently, and your camera is also off.
Just a second. Let me just try that. Is that better now?
No.
Is that okay?
I want to stop. Yeah. Now it's back.
Is that okay? Yeah. Okay. So I'll just get to it. So designing spaces for children is certainly no child's play. And I think we've seen that in others' work as well. For us specifically, designing for children with children has been about exploring innocence, joy in small things, the dexterity, their absolute obliviousness to, to any sense of prejudice, and their ability to absorb new sensations, and which is, I think, a sharp contrast to what you would see in adults. One of the things, is my screen visible now? Is the screen visible?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Because I don't seem to be able to see it. So
it's between two slides.
Sorry, just one moment. Let me just. Is it back now?
Yes. Yeah. The screen is not shared. It's gone.
Is it okay now?
No. The screen is not shared yet.
Sorry. Okay, never mind. Let me try another one. Is it okay now? Better?
Yes, and I request you to switch on your camera as well, sir.
Is it okay now? All good?
All good? Yeah.
Yes. So Yeah, so I think for us, a lot of what we do has been, very, very inspired by what we see around. The sense of jugaad that children have with toys and their space is incredibly interesting. And I have to speak about, Henry Cole here, who is an architect, and he used some incredibly interesting architectural theories to design his epic toy range. There's a quick anecdote I want to share. When he was asked to head the National Archives, in London the first time, he was absolutely appalled by the sense of chaos that he saw in the way people kind of took the whole records. So he designed this little mouse in the form of a very real stuffed toy and put that between all his files. And suddenly there was panic. People woke up and said, "Oh, this is going to be eaten up." And today we know what National Archive stands for. So that's just the power of design, really. So design for children, be it a school or a crib or a play area, I think needs to be a lot more than just aesthetically pleasing. Because there's insatiable curiosity, there's values that you want to kind of talk about. You want them to be indestructible in some sense, and safety in many ways. One of the things that I remember very vividly when I first saw Potter's home many, many years ago, I think when I was studying architecture, was how he tended to stack up all the pots one over the other. And there would be lots of children pottering around with, the typical cart and the wheel. And they were so careful to maneuver around spaces without breaking a single pot. And I think this taught me something very important about sensitivity. Can our spaces be designed to imbibe the idea of sensitivity among children as a point of contact? So basis this, I think the whole idea of sensitive design and trying to build within eco-sensitive materials has been a big part of what we do. Those are just some visuals of our work where you see the buildings trying very hard to fit in between their fabulous context behind and fit in. How does a space bring in cultural sensitivity? Can we bring in a sense of place, a sense of material, texture? Can sustainability be a very, very big part of what we teach our children, because they are the future of tomorrow? Another important part we've realized while designing for children is the way adults perceive space and children perceive space can be very, very different. What is very beautiful and dark and soothing for an adult might be absolutely scary for the younger lot. So how do you kind of find the balance between the two? So I just want to say that tools and technologies may change, but what will never change is the need for inspiration and inspiring ideas. And I suppose children bring that in ample measure. And we're hoping that we continue to learn from them and their sense of wonder and create joy in what we do. So thank you.
Wonderful, Shweta. Wonderful, wonderful direction, I believe, from our earlier panelists as well. An interesting take on how you look at how kids play in the first place. We had an interesting panel yesterday as well, which constituted a couple of toy designers who were trying to understand how unconventional toys or regular day-to-day objects actually work as toys. A lot more fun and play can be infused into those. That it reminded me of that panel as well. But there's a few questions from the viewers. Let me put this across to the panel. Any of you guys can respond to it. Is there a palette of color that you actually look at because of cultural difference, or any of those? Because there is a trend in color that happens in terms of kids' spaces, but the kind of colors that both Pawan and Rana has probably used in their projects have been quite different in terms of, is that a palette that you have evolved over a period of time, reflecting the culture?
I haven't really really thought about anything close to a culture or something. I just thought the most interesting colors, what the kids would like, and we started using them. Something that, again, the very bright colors. very bright, something that they like it, attractive. They get it turns on, and they feel they want to go touch it. That kind of a thing. How the regular sky colors, little yellows, greens. So nothing like a palette, but whatever the kids basically would like. There is so much difference between what a kids like and what a model would like, what an elderly person would like. So that's we try to. Uh, I use only the one that the kids would like. So there's nothing called as particular palette at all there.
The other question that came up was on materials. There's quite an interesting area for interior designers, and quite a very sensitive area in when you design for kids as well. So, is there any specific materials that you actually kind of pull up with when you actually work with spaces for kids?
Again, yeah, Rana, please go on.
Okay. Spaces for kids, the materials that we use, we look at durability, maintenance free, textures that do not hurt, paints that are not toxic. So those are all child friendly. Those are the things that we have to obviously keep in mind. When I use a board, I make sure it's not a ply board. It's a medium density fiber board, which we can design, which we can cut, which will not give any splinters to the children. So safety is also another very important point here. I think we'll keep it short.
Okay. Shweta, very specific to your presentation itself. Do you think the entire psychology of parenting has evolved over a period of time, and then that kind of reflects into the spaces that you design? And has there been an influence? This is open to the rest of them as well. Has there been an influence of teaching methods in terms of how that dictates the way you design spaces? Because now I see Rana designing a lot of spaces, and Pawan had also mentioned that he interacted with the teachers before he actually designed spaces. I would first want Shweta to answer the first part of it. Then
absolutely, Harish. I think as parents, all of us have seen that we are not the kind of parents that our parents were to begin with, and the children today are not ready to take answers like no, I am telling you so at all. So I think that whole thing, what begins at home, definitely transcends to their extended spaces. And I'm of the opinion that the whole education scene is going to change so drastically now, that really one has to see. I think we have some very, very exciting times ahead in terms of how these spaces are going to be. We're going to need a lot more flexible spaces that can be a study space now, and in 5 minutes just flip over like a stage into something else completely. So I think that's the direction we are headed. It's very fluid, but I think it's extremely dynamic.
Which was very interesting in one of Pawan's projects as well, where he mentioned that there were several elements that were there, but it was left for the kids to actually explore each of these elements and then transform the spaces, or do a role play depending on their creativity. That was also a very interesting direction. Pawan, how did you reflect? How did the system or the education or the teachers kind of dictate in terms of, or their contribution in terms of when you design spaces?
To be very frank, I mentioned to you the first two projects where there was absolutely no interaction with any kind of students or any advice from anybody. We just started Googling it, learning it for ourselves and trying to understand. But the third project is something which we also learned what exactly change requires. If you see, the first one was much more haphazard with a lot of angles, lines, lanes and all that. But the last project was mostly straight line, because spaces, when we started designing, they wanted spaces. They exactly know where does the younger kid stays and where does that elder kid, somebody in the age of that, they wanted to interact with. They wanted to see where exactly would they want to sit. How does light even come in? And to be very frank, that was our very interesting project, because we learned from them. We learned from them, and they have been teaching us a lot more things which we never even experienced and never even thought.
Rana ma'am, your take on it, because you've designed several things. By now, I think you should be ready to teach in most of the schools.
I am telling you, I do get people who come with the, or aap hi pura school ka syllabus kar lo, aap hi pura, I'm like, no, I will design a joyful place that your children can use, but I am not the one. Yes, I have done several and more institutes. Now there is two schools of thought there. There are some people who have seen your work and they come and say, yes, I like what you do and I would like to. And it's a journey where they hold hands with me and we discover things together. This is also a journey that I have with the teachers, because each school would have their own syllabus, their own style of teaching, which again we inculcate in our interiors, that teaching for them becomes easy. We say A for apple, A for aeroplane, it's right there on that wall. See it, feel it, touch it, see the color, distinguish it. So yes, a lot of hand holding is there. Then the other set of clients are the ones who have a school for business. I had a young girl who came to me and she says, I want to do a school. I said, Shadi hui hai? Do you have kids? How do you understand children? It's not something that daddy has money and you want to go ahead and do it. I said, you need to experience and have that empathy and that love. Tabhi hoga. As a business, na to mere se hoga, na to it's just not going to happen. So that's the other kind who have business on their mind, which is good for them.
Wonderful. I think kids play spaces, architecture, interiors have been quite intriguing topics for us. And as part of a professional body, we could go on and on and on this topic. And I think it'll be as engaging as the first 5 minutes that we started with. Thank you very much for the panelists to joining us for the day. And I'm sure it would help all space designers, space planners, interior designers who've been part of our active viewers right now. It will help them understand how they design spaces for kids as well. Thank you so much on behalf of ADW 2.0 and IIID for accepting our invitation at such short notice and being there and making this panel a good success. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.